Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Dead by Daylight's Rising Tier series. In this series, I take a look at killers in Dead by Daylight and make suggestions on how we can improve or tweak them to raise them up to the top tier of killers, where they all should be. By very popular demand, we'll be starting with the absolute cutest squealer in the game, Amanda Young, aka the Pig. Pig is considered a low-tier killer. In fact, I placed her in B tier in my Chapter 13 killer tier list, which I will link in the description. The Pig's primary issues are her limited one-time use traps, her delayed stealth mechanic, her highly telegraphed charge, and her inability to apply any genuine map pressure. So we're going to look at how we can fix these problems. First, let's look at her reverse bear traps. The timer on the reverse bear traps do not start until a generator has been completed. A survivor can manage to take the reverse bear trap off with the first puzzle box they come to, and the traps are also moot once an exit gate has been opened, making them a use them or lose them power. The Pig's traps are easily the worst traps in the game. The only exception to that statement is that they can actually kill survivors who somehow go without getting them off. She permanently loses her traps if survivors lose them. Her traps become powerless and pointless once the exit gates are opened. The mechanic actually works against the entire theme of the Saw series, where in order to free yourself, you must put yourself in harm's way or even do harm to yourself or another in order to get away. So let's change things up. First, let's change the whole part about losing the bear traps when they've been removed by a survivor. No other killer in the game loses their traps, so Pig shouldn't either. Instead, when a survivor removes one of Pig's traps, they will drop it on the ground and it will be able to be picked back up by the Pig to use once again. To balance this out, we'll be limiting her to 2 traps with the option to get more with add-ons. Second, the traps will still activate and be deadly after the exit gates are opened or the hatch is closed. This is a huge detriment to the Pig's current kit and was a huge nerf to her once the in-game timer was introduced. Third, we'll change the puzzle box mechanic just a bit to be a bit more in theme with the Saw series. The time it takes to remove a reverse bear trap will remain the same. However, skill checks in them will work differently in order to make it more of a heavy choice. Hitting a good skill check while working on a puzzle box will increase the time it takes to remove a trap by 5 seconds, and a great skill check will increase the time it takes to remove the trap by 10 seconds, while missing a skill check grants 10% progression. Doing this forces survivors to make a difficult decision. Do they speed up the removal process by missing a skill check and giving away their location, or do they prolong the process by hitting skill checks and keeping their location hidden? This to me is far more in line with the theme of Saw, and a better way to work the mechanic than only running around to find the correct puzzle box. I think this is the most balanced way of changing the way the puzzle boxes and bear traps would work. However, one other change I would make, which would be more controversial, is making the timer on the traps start regardless of whether a generator has been completed or not. I'm not sure why this is a thing, but it forces the Pig to wait till survivors have actually made progress on the generators to actually have her traps be a threat. And good survivors, once they know it's a Pig, will 99% generators and then just pop them all later so that the bear traps aren't ever really a threat. So I personally think this is a poor mechanic choice. Forcing a killer to wait for its ability to be dangerous till survivors have started to gain an advantage is just bad game design. With these changes, reverse bear traps would now be limited to 2 traps, though that number could be raised with add-ons, be able to be picked back up after they're removed, activate the moment you are unhooked, healed from the dying state or exit a chase, and where they take approximately 20 seconds to remove now, they would take between 14 and 50 seconds to remove depending on whether you miss skill checks or not. That's your choice to make it take longer. Remember, this is Saw. These changes would make the reverse bear traps far more dangerous and removing them a much more involved task, but their limited number would also make using them and retrieving them a more tactical matter. Now that we've gone over the Pig's reverse bear trap and puzzle boxes, let's take a look at her stealth ability. The Pig's stealth, unlike every other killer in the game, is not instantaneous. Instead, when the Pig crouches, her terror radius slowly reduces to 0 and she loses her red stain. When she stands up, her terror radius slowly expands back to its normal state. Losing and regaining her terror radius each take about 4 seconds. In order to make this better, I'd like to see Pig's terror radius and red stain disappear immediately, just like every other stealth killer's. This would bring her even with Ghostface and Wraith in this regard. Now, every other stealth killer gets a bonus for going into stealth. Ghostface gets the ability to stalk and find out where survivors are if they break him out of his stealth, and Wraith and Spirit both have massive speed bonuses, so it's only right that Piggy gets her own bonus. So I would let the Pig keep the lingering 4 seconds of stealth that she has when she stands back up. This would be the bonus she gets for using her stealth. Now let's look at her charge, as it is an activated ability she can only use while in stealth. And no, I don't count it as a bonus to stealth, I count it as just the thing she can do while she's there. Currently, as you channel your charge, she lets out a roar to telegraph that she's doing this this and gives the survivors a window to react. I would change it so that the roar would come as she charged, not while she was charging it. This changes the warning from "I'm about to charge at you" to "I'm coming for you right now." This gives the survivors a smaller reaction window and turns the charge from a potential upcoming threat to an immediate threat that has to be reacted to in that moment, or you're going to be going down. I would also allow the pig to vault pallets and windows similar to Legion while she's in her charge in order to give it that extra bit of threat potential so survivors won't think that they can get away with a simple vault. Stunner or runner, boys, because this little piggy's going to market for your life. Now, with her abilities out of the way, I would like to take a chance of addressing one thing about her add-ons. I would like to see an add-on that altered her powers much like Freddy and Nurse's new add-ons do. One ultra-rare add-on that I'd like to see would allow her to attach her reverse bear traps to generators, make them completely blend in with it, but whenever the generators were up to 75% progression, the bear trap clamps down on the survivor's head. I think this would make for an interesting playstyle change and keep survivors wary about whether or not she's trapped generators or if she's holding on to her traps. A pig killer could trap one generator, then simply wait for someone to get trapped by it and not attach traps to other survivors that they down for a bit in order to make them paranoid about progressing generators, which becomes its own small version of Hex Ruin. Gens don't get finished because survivors are too afraid to actually commit to the generator. I think that will do it for this episode of Rising Tier. Making Pig's traps more versatile, dangerous, and tactical, making her stealth more in line with other killers, and making her charge a less predictable and much less avoidable thing would bring Pig into A or S tier in my opinion. There's small but pointed tweaks to her powers that do just a little bit more to help her add pressure from the start of the match and keep it going to the end. What do you think? Do you think these changes would help Pig rise into the A or S tiers? Let me know in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed this first episode of Rising Tier. I had a lot of fun thinking up ways to improve the pig, and I had a lot of fun making the video. So if you liked the video, please consider giving it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike and let me know why in the comments. I hope you all have a great day, and as always, stay positive.